Hello, welcome to our weekly Sit Down Sunday Q&A where we get to answer questions from you. This week we're going to talk all about VBAC, vaginal birth after C-section, or just trying labor after C-section, and then also potty training and a little bit of our own experiences with that.
So if this is your first time meeting us, I'm Sarah. I'm a board certified OBGYN. Have one little girl and another one on the way, so pregnancy number 2.
Boy on the way though this time. And I'm Kurt, I'm a board certified pediatrician, dad, and we are
the Doctors Bjorkman. All right, so this week our first question comes from Robin Bryce, and she said, what are your views on first-time C-section mamas on wanting to have a big family? How do you really feel about VBACs as an OB?
VBAC being?
Vaginal birth after cesarean.
Okay.
So, how I really feel is I really like them, but let me go into that a little bit more. So, studies have shown us that vaginal deliveries tend to have a shorter recovery time, shorter hospital stay, less risk than having major abdominal surgery requiring a C-section. That being said, C-sections are very safe. They are one of the most common surgeries done in the United States every single day.
And I've heard that the recovery from a vaginal birth isn't particularly fun either.
Both are rough in different ways, okay? But again, a C-section is major abdominal surgery. And so often the recovery from a C-section is longer, you're in the hospital longer, risk of blood transfusion, things like that are all higher when we think about a C-section. The question is about VBAC and TOLAC. So TOLAC means trial of labor after a C-section. VBAC means vaginal birth after a C-section. So if you end up having a first C-section for whatever reason, when you get pregnant again, you are thinking about, hey, what is going to be my mode of delivery? Am I going to try for a vaginal delivery or am I going to try for a C-section? The way to kind of decide which you want to do is very much up to you and your provider. Some hospitals just do not offer trials of labor after C-sections, and this is because maybe they do not have in-house anesthesia, their providers are not comfortable. For whatever reason, some places don't offer it, and it is unfortunate because we know, again, vaginal birth generally lower risks than a C-section. When you're thinking about, hey, what do I want to do next? As always, talk to your provider. They know you, they know your medical history the best, and they know your goals. And that is one of the things I always think about when talking to patients about this is, what is your goal? So there are national calculators, a VBAC success calculator, where we put in a bunch of information about you, why your age, your reason you had your C-section, different things to give us an idea of what it predicts your chances of success are, okay? The indication for your first C-section is very telling, and do we think you're gonna be successful? If you had a C-section because your baby was breech in the first pregnancy, it's very different than someone who had a C-section who pushed for 4 hours and baby just didn't fit because of your pelvis, okay? So different situations for C-sections, different reasons that we would counsel you in terms of thinking about success for a VBAC. All that being said, for patients who want a big family, meaning, you know, more than 1 or 2 more kids, thinking about trial of labor after C-section is a very good, thoughtful idea, because we know that as you have repeated C-sections, so higher order C-sections, 3rd C-section, 4th C-section, 5th, 6th, these increase all of the risks for C-section, okay? You are more likely to have scar tissue in your abdomen, you're more likely to have a bowel injury, more likely to have a bladder injury, more likely to need a transfusion, more likely to need a hysterectomy. All of these things increase as the number of C-sections you have increases, including the risk of placenta accreta, or what we kind of call a morbidly adherent placenta, gets higher and higher and higher the more C-sections you have. So when we're thinking, hey, I really want a big family, ideally we want to avoid multiple repeat C-sections if possible. That being said, if you find yourself in that situation and you do need a 5th C-section, it can absolutely be safely done. We do them all the time. We have certain things in place, blood on, you know, in a hospital where we have blood, we make sure you've had lots of ultrasounds to look at that placenta and make sure, you know, we're not super concerned that it is, you know, growing in the wrong place and different things like that. So those are risks of C-section, of course, but there is also risks with trying for a vaginal birth. That trial of labor after C-section is also not without risk. So, and that is largely because you've had one C-section, so you have a scar on your uterus. They cut through your uterus the first time, opened it up to get that little babe out. And so when that scar is healing, it may not be as strong as the rest of your uterine muscle. And so the thing that we worry about is uterine rupture, meaning that during labor, when your uterus is contracting, trying to get that baby out for your vaginal delivery, the worry is that C-section scar comes apart, okay? That is life-threatening emergency for mom and for baby because A, risk of bleeding, B, risk of, you know, this uterus ruptures, baby can start to come out of that rupture. Have done C-sections during trials of labor where baby was literally up by the liver because the uterus ruptured and baby was up here.
Not where baby's supposed to be.
No, and so it's very dangerous. The risk of this happening is low. Uterine rupture is low, but it's not zero. And so it is also something to think about that the risk changes a little bit with the number of C-sections you've had. And so most providers feel pretty comfortable if you've had one C-section. It's becoming more and more common, I think, to see people being comfortable with this VBAC, and it's like VBAC 2C, like VBA 2C. So you've had 2 C-sections that I am seeing more, but still that's pretty rare where people are comfortable testing that incision after 2 C-sections because, again, you're worried about the integrity of that incision and the strength of that uterus, and that risk of uterine muscle tearing during labor, again, can be life-threatening for mom and baby. So you're balancing the risks of multiple repeat C-section versus uterine rupture. So something to talk about: your goals, the VBAC calculator, reasons you had your C-section, and you know, how big a family do you think you want, and then go from there and make the decision that feels safest and best for you and your family. And we have lots of videos about C-section prep. We have lots of postpartum videos. So again, whatever route your baby arrives earthside, we just hope you have a safe and smooth delivery.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Okay. Gosh, that was a great answer. Because of that, we're going to do a short one next. Katie Grimm says, can you please do a video on potty training? This is funny because we are going through this right now. We wish we had a good answer for you.
Potty learning is what her little school calls it. Toilet learning or something.
Trying diaper-free time. We've got poop on the floor a couple times, lots of pee on the floor. We just have
poop on the floor as of now is where we're at with potty training. I think she's like peed on the potty a few times and pooped on the potty like once. Yeah. Must have been an accident. We haven't like really like tried to start. She's shown interest is what they say is key. Are they showing interest in different things like that? So started to show interest. We have a bunch of different potty books where they talk about going potty and show pictures of going potty, and you find yourself reading these things that you never in your life imagined.
And so, and like trying to model potty behavior. And so that's where we're at. If you guys have great resources,
please send them our way. We will share with you as soon as we start really diving into that and doing some research on that. Right now, we got the diaper supply coming, so share your tips with us.
Great.
Thanks for being here with us this week. We can't wait to share our Wednesday content with you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We're doctors.
But not your doctors.
Anything we've said in this video is for education or entertainment purposes only.
It is not medical advice.
Any specific medical questions you have should be directed to your provider.